Good morning, everyone, and welcome in. Thank you so much for being with us here on the stream on this Tuesday. I'm Elise Seedy, and there is so much to get to on this February 17th. Of course, we want to make sure we mention this, though. This morning, the family of Reverend Jesse Jackson confirmed the civil rights leader passed away at his home at the age of 84. So, of course, we'll be reflecting on his life and legacy throughout the show, including an interview with someone that you'll probably recognize who said that this man, of course, had a great impact in his life. So be sure to stick around for that. But another big one that we're following for you this morning, talking about day 2 of the trial for Colin Gray. He is accused, his teenager is the father of the teenager accused in the 2024 mass shooting at Apalachee High School. So Gray is charged with nearly 30 felony counts, including second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter. And prosecutors are alleging that he gave his son Colt access to a rifle, knowing that there were warning signs, and failed to prevent the September 4th, 2024 attack. So again, this is day 2 of the trial that's ongoing. This is a live look right now inside of the courtroom. So hearing from several witnesses today, but want to shed some light on the testimony for Natalie Griffith. She is still recovering from the shooting. Her parents called her the bravest little girl I've ever seen. That's what they said to our Kim Leffler, who interviewed her not too long after all of this happened. She said she was determined to make it back to Apalachee High School shooting, Apalachee High School, that is, despite surviving this traumatic incident. So just to let you know that there is a curse word that's said during the testimony, so we'll be bleeping that out. But just wanted to listen in to the testimony. Again, this is Natalie, who was greatly impacted by the shooting at Apalachee High School.
Could you please introduce yourself?
My name is Natalie Griffith.
Okay, and Natalie, how old are you?
I am 16 years old.
Okay. Where do you go to school?
I go to school at Apalachee High School.
Okay. I want to take your attention back to last year, 2024. What grade were you in?
I was a freshman.
Okay. And for second period that year, who did you have for second period?
I had Miss Ryan, my algebra teacher.
Okay. And so it was algebra?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to put up a seating chart. I want to take your attention to September 4th. Did y'all have new seats that day?
Yes.
Okay. And there's a circle on that seating chart. Is that where you were sitting on
Yes.
that day?
Yes.
Okay. And what were y'all doing that morning in that class? Do you remember?
I can remember what happened right before.
You don't remember?
I can.
Okay.
To the best of my abilities. I'm pretty sure Miss Ryan was teaching us some stuff, and we were about to group off into groups so that we could practice the content on our own and with each other. And then she was most likely going to then have us come back together to, check our work and stuff. Okay. And as she was giving the instructions, we heard a bang.
Where did you hear the bang coming from?
Outside.
Okay.
Outside the door, like around.
Okay. What did you do when you heard that bang?
I was crocheting. I stood up.
I'm sorry, you were what?
Crocheting.
Crocheting?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do it to give my hands something to do.
Okay.
I stood up.
You stood up?
Yeah.
Did you look towards the door?
I think I did.
Did you see anybody at the door?
No, it happened really fast. I didn't really process what was happening.
Okay. What happened?
All right, and we just got word that we are not going to be listening to witness statements, which is what we were just hearing right there from Natalie. So here's what we'll do instead. We'll just listen in to what's happening here in court right now. It looks like there's some transition of what's happening, so we'll hold off for just a moment. But if you're just now joining us, this is day 2 of the emotional trial of Colin Gray. He is the father accused in the 2024 mass shooting at Apalachee High School, saying he was culpable in this. This is what prosecutors are saying due to the fact that he should have known his son, Colt Gray, was a threat. So let's press pause with us. Let's listen back into what's happening.
I'm going to go ahead and have you raise your right hand. Perfect. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. And I'm going to start by having you say your name, and if you'll spell your first name and your last name.
My name is Jackson Thomas Beaver.
Okay.
It's Jaxson.
And how do you spell beaver?
Oh, Beaver.
Thank you. And Jackson, how old are you?
I am 16, about to turn 17.
Okay. So you're about to turn 17. When's your birthday?
Okay.
June 12th, 2009.
All right, going to hop out of this because it sounds like that is another witness testimony that we have been asked to avoid. So let's press pause on all of this. We'll take a quick break and we're back with more right after this. Welcome back, everyone. 11:07 here on this Tuesday morning. Let's get to this story right now out of Cobb County. So a man is dead after being shot by officers. This happened late Monday night in unincorporated Cobb County. This is unincorporated Marietta. Here's what we know about it. The shooting happened a little after 10:30 on Bradley Avenue. Investigators with the Cobb County Police Department are saying that officers first heard gunfire in the area and they began searching for a source. That they got a call from a home on Bradley Avenue that reported an armed man was nearby. So to fill us in on the rest of the pieces of all of this, let's check in with our Mark Teichner, who has the very latest.
You know, this shooting took place late last night, but the investigation has continued into the morning hours as the GBI tries to figure out exactly what played out here on Bradley Avenue. GBI agents worked throughout the overnight at the scene of the deadly police shooting. Evidence markers could be seen surrounding a Cobb County police squad car, and shell casings were on the road here on Bradley Avenue. Cobb County police say this all started when their officers heard gunfire just after 10:30 Monday night. As the officers tried to find the shooter, a call came into 911 from a home on Bradley Ave saying an armed man was in the area. Police confronted the suspect, who they say was armed with a handgun. According to police, the officers repeatedly told the man to drop the weapon. They say he refused, and that's when at least one officer opened fire, killing the suspect. The name of the man hasn't been released, nor do we know if he lived in the area. No officers were hurt. Well, as is protocol here in Cobb County and at most police jurisdictions throughout the state, the GBI has taken over the investigation into this officer-involved shooting. Reporting from Cobb County, I'm Mark Teichner, Fox 5 News.
All right, now on to another big story that we're on top of. A USPS mail carrier was killed in Decatur. Federal investigators are now offering a reward in the case. So here's what we know. DeQuavius Graves was delivering mail in the 2700 block of Oxford Drive. It's near Flat Shoals Road. Officers say he was shot just before 7 p.m. February 12th. Graves had been working with the Postal Service for 3 years when he was killed. Investigators are offering a reward for information that leads to an arrest and conviction in the case. So they're saying anyone with information regarding Graves' murder is urged to submit a tip. They say that you can call 1-877-876-2455. Law enforcement will take that. You can remain anonymous. Here's what they're saying about just the situation. The Postal Service has released a statement. It says, in part, our thoughts are with their friends, their family, their colleagues during this difficult time. We'll be providing counseling service to our employees at the Wesley Chapel Post Office as the investigation into the incident continues. Again, that's the word from the U.S. Postal Service. Now, what we still don't know in this case, authorities have not yet released a possible motive for the shooting or suspect details. But again, a $250,000 reward is being offered for information that leads to a conviction in the murder of DeQuavius Graves. Our time now is 11:11. Let's take a look right now at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. This comes as TSA agents are working right now without pay. This is due to another government shutdown. So funding for the Department of Homeland Security actually ran out over the weekend. It'll directly affect Secret Service, FEMA, and of course, TSA. So those are the three big ones this go around. Who's not impacted? We've got air traffic controllers, those, of course, those responsible for watching the skies and keeping our airspace safe. They will continue to receive a paycheck. That's good news for passengers. It means you may not see any significant flight delays or cancellations for the time being. Of course, that can change if this continues on. Speaking of that, how long will this go on? That's up in the air right now. Democrats and Republicans failed to reach a deal last week, and now Congress is on a break for the rest of the week. Democrats say they'll budge if new restrictions are put in place on federal immigration operations. For example, they're tying this up with ICE. They say they want ICE to stop wearing face coverings and start showing identification up front. Republicans are saying that is a no-go to try to include that in the conversation here. So again, up in the air, no clear answer right now, but for the time being, we've got Secret Service, FEMA, and TSA agents who are currently working without pay during this government shutdown. So along the lines of ICE, a local story here, the Gwinnett County Sheriff is saying that ICE has been meeting with educators and that the meeting has been constructive. So here's what's going on right now in Gwinnett County. The sheriff there, Kibo Taylor, issued a statement after meeting with the teachers union and ICE about concerns. He says that their teachers, the union is saying teachers are starting to see more empty seats due to a surge in ICE agents and students afraid to go to school and parents keeping their students home. This is according to their report. So the sheriff says that the meeting allowed concerns to be stated in a constructive setting. He says it promised continued engagement. He says a recent meeting of the teachers union allowed both sides to share their concerns in what he called a constructive setting after the group raised alarm about immigration enforcement activity. So Gwinnett County Association of Educators says it's seeing more empty seats across the county because of a surge in ICE agents. Again, the meeting happened took place last Tuesday following an open letter from the association urging the sheriff to halt all cooperation with ICE. So a follow-up letter was sent several days later. The sheriff said the sheriff's office remains committed to continued engagement with educators and stakeholders. So by all accounts, a collaborative effort among the two of them and just kind of working to get things in a better place there in Gwinnett County in regards to this. All right, our time is 11:14 now. Are we going to head back into court? The Tara Baker? Okay, so we're going to talk about the Tara Baker case right now. So new today, the jury has been deliberating since 9 a.m. In fact, just before 10:30 a.m., the judge announced the jury requested to listen back to an interview that happened between investigators and Edric Faust. He is the one accused of murder right now. So we had a chance to catch that moment on camera. Let's listen in together on what went down.
All right, we're ready to go on the record. State of Georgia versus Edric Faust, SU 24-00547. The jury has been deliberating since 9 o'clock this morning, and they have a question. This is question number 3, and it is to the judge. Video of Bingham and Howell interview of Edric Faust requested. And certainly that's allowed. Any comment from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, any comment, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Hill?
I would just ask, I know yesterday we spent about 4 hours listening to the interview overall. Can we figure out the portion? I have no issue with it. Just, is there a particular portion they would like to see? Or?
They haven't requested it, and so my practice is to let them direct the show. And if they have requested a certain portion, I'll address it. But they've just said video, so I'm going to let them see the video.
It's been chopped up multiple ways.
Sure.
So, but that's fine.
Well, they can only see the video that's in evidence, and only the parts that you all agreed and were in evidence. You know, they don't get to see the video just as is. So certainly.
Understood.
All right, so a quick recap here on what is happening right now. This is the Tara Baker murder trial, and jury deliberations continue today. So let's just get back into what happened here, the nuts and bolts of the case. Jurors are set to deliberate on the murder trial of Edric Faust. He's accused of killing University of Georgia law student Tara Baker 25 years ago. So what we know about this is the case went to jury after closing arguments and deliberations, again, scheduled to continue. Prosecutors allege that Faust raped and murdered Baker back in 2001 and then later attempted to cover up his crime. He faces charges including malice murder, felony murder, tampering with evidence, and arson. So during closing arguments, prosecutors emphasized DNA evidence collected during the initial investigation. They say it was ultimately identified Faust as the suspect decades later. The defense, though, offered an alternative theory and challenged the state's interpretation of the evidence. So on the first day of deliberations, jurors spent about an hour and a half looking over the case before asking to see DNA reports again. And then, like we mentioned, to rehear testimony from one of the investigators who took the stand. So that's a really big piece of the puzzle here. The verdict in this case will be announced once jurors reach a decision. So we've got our eyes and ears and cameras in court. Again, this is a live look at what's happening there in the courtroom today. So we may dip back into that in just a little bit, but following very closely what is happening here in the trial of Edric Faust, accused of murdering UGA law student Tara Baker 25 years ago. All right, our time is 11:17, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Well, some big news coming in this morning. This is something you've probably seen by this point. Jesse Jackson's family confirms the civil rights leader passed away this morning at the age of 84. They say he died peacefully in his home, surrounded by family and friends. So late last year, he was diagnosed with a neurological disorder. It's known as progressive SNP. He was also suffering from Parkinson's disease as well. But Jackson, a civil rights leader, a politician, a community activist, and meant a great deal to a great many people, including Dr. Jamal Bryant, senior pastor of New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, released a statement today talking about how important that he was. Reverend Jackson was my superhero, is how he begins that out. He says, while many people my age wanted to be Michael Jordan, I wanted to be Jesse Jackson. His poise, passion, and purpose was my blueprint. In 6th grade, I wore a Jackson for President button every day and haven't turned back since. That is the statement released by Dr. Jamal Bryant. Well, we have him joining us live right now just to talk about what Jesse Jackson meant to you personally and his life and legacy as well. So, Dr. Bryant, thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate that.
Honored to be with you. Thank you so
much.
much.
I want to give you a moment just to share with us a little bit about what Jesse Jackson meant to you. I mean, I think it's pretty fascinating when you say that even from such a young age, you wearing his button and wanting to be him as opposed to Michael Jordan like everyone else. So that gives us some insight, but let's hear it from you this morning in your own words.
Yeah, you have to have in context that my generation never saw Martin Luther King Jr. outside of books and movies. Jesse Jackson gave us a front row seat on what activism was supposed to look like and the pursuit for justice and equality for everyone. And so he was larger than life. Watching him on television deliver the address for the Democratic Convention, registering more people to vote than anybody in modern history is awe-inspiring for all of us.
Yeah, and I can't help but wonder, if perhaps that played a role in you deciding to do what you do and so much of the outreach that we see coming from you and from New Birth Missionary Baptist Church as well. But maybe there's a lesson. Is there some kind of lesson or memory from Reverend Jackson that stayed with you throughout your life and in ministry?
Reverend Jackson often said, you can't lead the people if you don't love the people. And so he would always be stopped in airports and restaurants, and we're just overwhelmed. And I asked him, are you ever tired of this? And his response flatly was, these are the people I work for.
Wow.
And it really helped me to understand you can't be a shepherd if you don't smell like sheep. And so I am always intentional to really be at a level where I can touch and feel and understand what the masses of the population are dealing with and how it is that they just need a beacon of hope in order to push further.
Yeah. How would you describe the impact that Reverend Jackson had on the civil rights movement and just social justice in general in America?
He really made it global. While it is that he ran for president twice, which should not be overlooked is Reverend Jackson is the only civilian to bring hostages out of the Middle East on 3 different occasions. And he did it without any FBI training or CIA intelligence, but by the grace of God and having an affable character. And so he helped us to understand that to all of the world, that while he was an activist, while he was a politician, he was a preacher first. And he really brought to bear what it means to be a public servant.
What do you think his work and leadership could teach young activists today, Dr. Bryant?
I would say an adjective that is very rarely ascribed to Black people, and that is that Reverend Jackson was a patriot. He believed in the best for America and was willing to do whatever it took to make the nation great. And so he never spoke disparagingly around this nation, but always saw the best even when we were at our worst.
What about communities, Dr. Bryant? What is it that you think communities can do to honor Reverend Jackson's legacy and continue on his work of equality and justice?
I think that we've got an open door in front of us for these midterm elections, that we've got to register people to vote. Young people have been disillusioned, disenfranchised, and disconnected from the system. But I think that we've got to put all hands on deck, that in this midterm election all over the country, young people ought to be leading the parade. This is a passing of the baton for a new generation to emerge.
Passing of the baton. So obviously this is fresh news. You know, this is something that we learned of his passing this morning. So as someone who has been so deeply touched by his life, maybe you can just share with us some words, some thoughts about how you're feeling and what you hope his ultimate legacy is, how he's remembered.
I think that before there was anything called TED Talks, before there was motivational speakers, before there was self-help books in Barnes and Noble, Reverend Jackson emboldened the country with one phrase: I am somebody. He said it to children, to veterans, to the disabled, to those who were marginalized, to help them understand their value, their worth, and their possibilities. It was such a radical and revolutionary statement, and I hope that even in the era and the times that we're in, that every person will understand that they matter and that they are somebody.
We certainly appreciate your time today. It means a lot, you joining in just to share your thoughts and how Jesse Jackson impacted your life personally. So Dr. Jamal Bryant, Senior Pastor at New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Honored to be a part.
It's 11:26 now, and we want to take a closer look at his life, the life of the late Jesse Jackson, and his legacy, of course. So Fox's Mike Tobin has more on what he meant to the city of Atlanta, to the world, and to those who knew him best.
Put your hands together for our leader, the Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson.
Civil rights leader, politician, and community activist Jesse Louis Jackson was born October 8, 1941 in Greenville, South Carolina. He met Jacqueline Lavinia Brown. They got married in 1962 and together had 5 children. At that time, in the early 60s, the country was in the throes of the civil rights movement.
Will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood? I have a dream.
Jackson says he was so inspired by Dr. Martin Luther King, he went to work for him and was with King when he was assassinated in 1968.
I actually succeeded Dr. King after King's assassination in 1968 as the premier leader of the civil rights movement. I never stopped serving.
In 1971, Jackson founded a group called People United to Save Humanity, or Operation Push. Jackson ran for the presidency in 1983, but lost the Democratic nomination to Walter Mondale. In a second try in '88, Jackson landed second place in the Democratic primaries, falling short to then Massachusetts Governor Michael Dukakis.
He played a significant role in the transition, to some extent, of the civil rights movement from protest to politics.
Around this time, the civil rights leader formed a group he named the Rainbow Coalition because it was made up of people from all races and ethnic backgrounds.
That is the unfinished business that I'm about, fighting for equal opportunity for all Americans and peace in the world.
But Jackson's reputation took a major hit in early 2001. A tabloid broke the news that the Reverend fathered a child out of wedlock with one of his aides, Karen Stanford. Some supporters were outraged, but several civil rights leaders spoke out in support of Jackson.
And Reverend Jackson will get up, brush himself off, and keep on marching. And we'll be marching right there with him. Congratulations.
Over the years, Jackson was recognized over and over again for his work on equal rights and efforts to help the less fortunate. He collected over 35 honorary degrees.
Reverend Jesse Jackson is just so special, not just to us, not just to our country, but to our world.
Supporters say in the last several decades, Jesse Jackson did more than anyone to move this country's civil rights agenda forward.
We now have the first African-American president. It would not have been possible if it were not for Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson. I've sought to be a long-distance runner. I would like to be measured by my box score, not by the home run or the strikeout, but being a long-distance servant.
And Jackson's followers promised the movement will continue.
We are not afraid.
Mike Tobin, Fox News.
Well, as you can imagine, we're hearing from lots of people talking about what Jesse Jackson meant to them, several politicians. But want to start with this one. The President Donald Trump, issued a Truth Social post just reflecting on their relationship. He says that he knew Jackson well, described him as a good man. He says, I knew him well long before becoming president. He was a good man, lots of personality, grit, and street smarts. He was very gregarious, someone who truly loved people. He went on to say Jesse was a force of nature. Few people before him. He had much to do with the election without acknowledgement or credit of Barack Obama, a man who Jesse said he couldn't stand. He said he loved his family greatly, and to them I send my deepest sympathies and condolences. Jesse will be missed. Again, that is part of the statement from President Trump. I want to share in part the statement as well from U.S. Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock. He says America's lost one of its great moral voices. Reverend Jesse Jackson spent his life working to ensure our nation lives up to its highest ideals. From his early days as a young staffer with Dr. King onto the national stage, he fought for freedom, racial justice, equality, and for the human dignity of the marginalized and the poor. He says as a kid, growing up in public housing while watching him run for president, Reverend Jesse Jackson gave me a glimpse of what's possible and taught me to say, I am somebody. As an adult, I was proud to call him my friend. I want to go on to this statement in part from Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens. Here is what he had to say about it. He said, today I joined the people of Atlanta mourning the passing of an American icon. I was a 26-year-old, it was a 26-year-old Jesse Jackson working alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on that fateful day in Memphis, the tragedy that seemed to cement his commitment to the movement. He says we extend our condolences to the Jackson family, as well as our sincere gratitude for sharing their patriarch with the rest of us, and ends it with this. He says, here in Atlanta, as well as around the country, we would be wise to heed Reverend Jackson's words and keep hope alive. We intend to. Those the words from three of those politicians. It is 11:31, and we're back with more right after this. Well, welcome back, folks. 11:33 now, and meteorologist Jonathan Stacy is joining us with the forecast. Things are looking up for us.
They are.
Yeah.
And they're going up in terms of the temperature, and then that will be followed by the rain chances as we get deeper into the week. So here's a look at the 7-day forecast. 70 is our goal for today. We'll capitalize on that warm-up experience today as we go throughout the week. But as the temperature grows, so will the clouds. And that you have a 20% shot at showers for Wednesday and Thursday. Friday and Saturday offer up a better chance for showers and possibly a few rumbles of thunder for the first day of the weekend. Meanwhile, we'll be enjoying afternoons with high temperatures into the 70s. In fact, by Friday, we'll come close to a record high, that is, of 78
Oh, boy. Wow.
It will depend on just how intense the rain is and how widespread it takes over the area. By Sunday, the wet weather is out of here. Sunshine returns. Winds are blowing, but those winds will be bringing in air from the north and the west. It will be a chilly air mass that will take over North Georgia by the start of next week. Therefore, high temperatures will drop down into the 50s for the start of the week. By Monday, we'll start out in your temperatures.
Am I seeing that? Really?
Yes.
Wow.
This is just a kind of a okie doke.
Yeah.
Setting you up for the okie doke. So we
Setting
will
us up.
Enjoy it while it lasts, but it does not last long. After all, this has been dubbed false spring.
There we
or
go.
fake spring, all of those names aptly named, because this is what happens around our neck of the woods. We swing the pendulum one direction only to find out the balances to get it going back in the other. So
You know what I love that you say? The okie doke. Every time. I think that's, I love it. I love that you do that. Okay.
I know, because it's kind of deceptive.
But it's perfect. It's appropriate. Do you remember growing up and getting thrown outside, the door locked behind you, told to play, enjoy the sunshine, don't come back in unless it's an emergency, that kind of thing? Right?
I don't remember the door locking.
Okay, but you better not come in unless you really need some.
It's like you need to decide. Are you going to go out? Or are you going to stay inside?
That's exactly right.
It's no going back and forth.
So that's what I've been doing with my kids yesterday and today. Like, get outside, enjoy, climb the trees, which they have been. It's been so wonderful, but it's been
so
warm.
Much energy bottled
I
up
know.
all February, or the majority of the month, and then most of January. Super cold.
Yeah.
And so it's like, now you've got all that built up in you. Get outside.
I'm telling
and
you.
enjoy it.
But it's perfect for that
It really
today,
is,
at least, and yesterday.
Especially with so many kids having the day off yesterday, even some adults having the day off. It was just a great day to be outside and to enjoy the sunshine. I think today is kind of the peak day for like perfect conditions that we see with our eyes and feel with our skin, because tomorrow it will be much cloudier.
Okay.
And so will Thursday, and then by Friday we'll still have the warmth around, but it will be raining during the second half of the day. So if you're looking for the looks and the feels, the whole vibe,
Then
today's
it's a
the
good
day that you
thing.
need to
Go for that walk. Go for that run. Go play outside. Go get in the garden. That kind of thing. Do it all. Have a picnic. All right, Jonathan, thank you so much. We appreciate it. It is 11:36 right now, and we are taking a live look at the White House, and that is because President Trump is expected to be in Georgia on Thursday. So here's what we know about that visit. He'll actually be in Rome, which is the 14th congressional district, formerly represented by Marjorie Taylor Greene. Early voting in a special election is underway right now to replace her. President Trump has endorsed former District Attorney Clay Fuller in the race. And according to a White House official, the president will visit Rome to talk about affordability and the economy before visiting a local business. It's 11:37, and in just a few minutes, we have to tell you some really good news to share about a Georgia Olympian who won gold. So stick around for that. Welcome back. Okay, we have a reminder for you that it is never too late to become what you could have been. This is super exciting and a happy story that we get to share. Metro Atlanta native Elena Myers-Taylor made history on Monday at the Milan Cortina Winter Games, winning gold in the monobob. That's what her race is, the monobob, at the age of 41. There she is right there. So she's actually the oldest Olympian to ever win a gold medal in an individual event. And this marks her 6th career Olympic medal and her very first Olympic title. I know I saw some video and pictures of her family there cheering her on. So this was super exciting for all of them, really for all of us, because she is the only 2026 Winter Olympian from Georgia, just proving that dedication and perseverance can pay off at any stage. So again, really good news to share. We're talking about Elena Myers-Taylor winning gold in the monobob at the age of 41, Douglasville's own. So how about that? Congratulations to her. Well, the first ever national sportswashing protest is going down. Climate activists are taking aim at fossil fuel sponsorships in sports. And we're taking a live look right now at Mercedes-Benz Stadium because that is the site of this protest that's happening today. And really stadiums from Los Angeles to Boston here, of course. Demonstrators say they're gathering at Mercedes-Benz Stadium to protest FIFA's partnership with oil giant Aramco, which is sponsoring the 2026 World Cup Games set to kick off in June. So organizers are saying these deals are a form of sports washing, where fossil fuel companies use major sporting events to try to improve their image while continuing to drive climate change. Similar protests happening at other stadiums tied to big oil or fossil fuel financiers, including Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles and Oracle Park in San Francisco as well. Protesters are calling on FIFA and other organizers to end these types of sponsorships, and they're really just highlighting the environmental and public health impacts of fossil fuels. So again, it's something that we're seeing right here at home here in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium and at a few stadiums across the country as well. Well, our time is 11:42, and we're back right after this. Welcome back, y'all. In the wake of the news that actor James Van Der Beek passed away at the age of 48 following a battle with colorectal cancer, there's really renewed national attention on the issue, which is important because colorectal cancer is now the leading cause of cancer-related deaths in those under the age of 50. So super concerning here. But joining us to talk a bit about this, we have Dr. Dennis Choate, a colorectal surgeon at City of Hope Cancer Center, Paces Ferry. So, Dr. Choate, thank you so much for being on the stream with us today.
Thank you for having me. Glad to help.
Of course, yes. Let's dive into this. I mean, why is it that colorectal cancer is increasing in younger adults? What's going on?
Well, we think there's several reasons, mostly because dietary reasons, mostly processed foods that we have more than we should, which then leads to obesity issues, sedentary lifestyle, and somewhat attributed to overusage of antibiotics, particularly in the post-baby boomer era.
So how about we go to early symptoms that folks can often overlook? What should we be on the lookout for?
Well, a lot of symptoms don't show up until things are too late. However, the most common would be rectal bleeding or abdominal pain, or any type of change in bowel habits.
When does screening start? What's the typical recommended age to get screened for the first time for colorectal cancer?
Well, as of now, it's age 45 for average risk patients, and that's down from age 50 several years ago. The United States Preventative Service Task Force, that's their new guideline recommendation, is to begin at 45. And we as colorectal surgeons and gastroenterologists feel that it probably should even be earlier.
So that's something that potentially in the future could be changed, which would be an interesting part of this conversation. What about lifestyle factors? You know, at the top, you mentioned something about eating processed foods and that kind of thing, but are there lifestyle factors that can help reduce your chances of diagnosis?
Well, certainly eating less processed foods, which means, typically fast foods, movement, just getting out and being active, which then reduces chances for obesity. So less sedentary lifestyle, because obesity is definitely a risk factor. And mostly, there's a theory that antibiotic usage has changed the kind of microbiome that we have within our GI tract that leads to early polyp formation and thus cancer.
So let's talk specifically about screening and the importance of catching this early. I mean, what are we talking about here in your chances for treatment and just your overall chances if this is something that's caught in the very early stages versus a little on down the line?
Sure. Well, the biggest step in prevention is early detection, obviously. And colonoscopy is still the best form of early detection. It has the highest decrease in colorectal cancer incidence as well as mortality.
Okay, let me ask you this for young people. I mean, since this is one that we're seeing young people like James Van Der Beek, 48 years old, and this aggressive form of colorectal cancer. Chadwick Boseman, another name, I think he was, I don't know, maybe 43 years old. So we're seeing this impacting younger people. What can younger adults do right now, Dr. Choate, to protect themselves?
So again, be active, avoid overeating processed foods, and just be aware of your symptoms and don't ignore them. Whenever you have a change in your habits, or if you've noticed some bleeding, don't ignore it and seek early advice. And also it's up to us to educate physicians in the community to make sure that when they hear these symptoms, they're not ignored.
Well, an important topic today and one that's on really the forefront of a lot of folks' mind in light of the recent passing of actor James Van Der Beek. So Dr. Dennis Choate, colorectal surgeon at City of Hope Cancer Center, Paces Ferry, thank you so much for being on and just, telling us what we can do to hopefully prevent it from happening to us. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Our time now is 11:49. We're going to have some more top news of the day right after this. Stick around. Welcome back, guys. One of our top stories today, talking about the death of Jesse Jackson, his family confirming that he passed away this morning in his home, surrounded by family and friends at the age of 84. Late last year, you might remember he was diagnosed with a neurological disorder. It's known as progressive SNP. He also had Parkinson's disease as well. So Jackson was so many things. He was a civil rights leader. He was a politician, a community activist as well, and just meant a great deal to a great many people. So his life and legacy being honored and remembered by many today. I want to get you to Cobb County now. This is where a man is dead after being shot by officers late Monday night in unincorporated Cobb County. This happened in unincorporated Marietta, I believe, just before 10:30 p.m. Police say that officers found and confronted a suspect. They say he was armed with a handgun. Officers repeatedly ordered the man to drop the weapon. When he refused, at least one officer opened fire, killing the suspect. So here's our Mark Teichner with more on what happened.
You know, this shooting took place late last night, but the investigation has continued into the morning hours as the GBI tries to figure out exactly what played out here on Bradley Avenue. GBI agents worked throughout the overnight at the scene of the deadly police shooting. Evidence markers could be seen surrounding a Cobb County police squad car, and shell casings were on the road here on Bradley Avenue. Cobb County police say this all started when their officers heard gunfire just after 10:30 Monday night. As the officers tried to find the shooter, a call came into 911 from a home on Bradley Ave saying an armed man was in the area. Police confronted the suspect, who they say was armed with a handgun. According to police, the officers repeatedly told the man to drop the weapon. They say he refused, and that's when at least one officer opened fire, killing the suspect. The name of the man hasn't been released, nor do we know if he lived in the area. No officers were hurt. Well, as is protocol here in Cobb County and at most police jurisdictions throughout the state, the GBI has taken over the investigation into this officer-involved shooting. Reporting from Cobb County, I'm Mark Teichner, Fox 5 News.
All right, let's take a live look now at Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson Airport. Doing that because TSA agents are working without pay at U.S. airports right now, and that's due to another government shutdown. So funding for the Department of Homeland Security ran out over the weekend, and who that will impact. We've got Secret Service, FEMA, and of course TSA impacted by this as well. So who's not impacted? We're talking about air traffic controllers, of course, those responsible for watching the skies and keeping our airspace safe, which is ultimately good news for passengers because it means you might not see any significant flight delays or cancellations for the time being, at least. You're probably wondering how long the shutdown could last this time. Well, there's no set answer on that. That's up in the air because Democrats and Republicans failed to reach a deal last week, and now Congress is on a break for the rest of the week. So, I mean, safe to say at this point, there's no end in sight. It's up in the air. We don't know. Democrats are saying they'll budge if a few new restrictions are placed on federal immigration operations. For example, they want to tie this in with what's happening with ICE. They want ICE officers to stop wearing face coverings and to start showing identification up front. Republicans are saying that is a no-go. They do not want any talk of that included with what's happening right now with the current government shutdown. So we'll see if that could end up being a bit of a stalemate between Republicans and Democrats. But what we do know about this right now is TSA agents are working without a paycheck, Secret Service working without a paycheck, and FEMA is not being paid as well in this government shutdown. So we are following that, and we will be sure to bring any updates that come from that. Of course, there definitely could be implications in travel as we get on down the road with that. But in the meantime, thank you so much for being with us here on the stream on this Tuesday. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you back here at noon. Take care.
Emotional testimony continues in the trial against the accused Apalachee High School mass shooter's father. Students inside the classroom recall the gut-wrenching moments from that day. And we're still on verdict watch in the trial against the man accused of murdering UGA law student Tara Baker. We'll have the latest on jury deliberations. Jonathan?
And right now, temperatures are on the run. Just how high they'll go until it all comes crashing down. That's next to your Fox 5 Storm Team forecast.
Fox 5 News at noon starts right now.
Testimony from Apalachee High School shooting victims on the second day of Colin Gray's murder.